I recently finished a reread of Haikyuu, the last season particularly. And after reading that, I felt like I had to talk about the character that is Kageyama, Tobio Kageyama. To establish the character that is Tobio Kageyama, we have to talk about his personality and his shift in personality from middle school all the way to Karasuno. In middle school, when we saw him, we had a brief introduction to the character that is Kageyama in the first episode, where we saw him and his teammates essentially. I can't remember what they were called, but they were scared of him. They saw him as someone that was, yes, he was talented, but there was something off about him. They didn't like him. They didn't want to play with him. And we saw why, because he saw his teammates, why didn't they have the kind of genius that he had essentially, and he played to that kind of level, and a lot of them could not adapt to that kind of level, and he did not adapt his plays for that until he met Hinata in the first episode. And that's when he looked at him and he was like, essentially, you have wasted your entire career in middle school. If only we were together, we would have won something. That was just the beginning of a rivalry between these two. Kageyama ultimately signed up to go to Karasuno, and surprise, surprise, Hinata also went to Karasuno, and they met on the first day, and they both wanted to sign up for the volleyball team. Karasuno was known as the Fallen Crow, I believe. Even though they were the Fallen Eagle, because they haven't qualified for nationals in years at this point, they still had dreams of one day qualifying for such a prestigious tournament. Kageyama and Hinata, both of them wanted to get to that level, as well as their captain Daichi and the other teammates. Once he joined Karasuno, now he needed to establish a relationship between him and Hinata, and which they successfully did. Hinata was not as technically as adept as Kageyama, but he adhered to that and they learned, and he gave him strategies that would work specifically for Hinata, and that made them a frightening duo with the monster quicks and plays that nobody else would do apart from those two. The Kageyama analysis is not complete, or character discussion is not complete, without talking about Oikawa. Oikawa is a mentor to Kageyama, especially in the anime. He's a mentor to Kageyama, and he served as that figure that Kageyama aspired to get to. And we saw this, it began from middle school when Kageyama was a first year and Oikawa was a third year. Oikawa was also a setter, but he was not as talented as Kageyama. He was one of those setters that could bring the absolute best out of his teammates. Kageyama at that point, he was not capable of that. He did not have the capacity. Well, Oikawa also was not willing to teach this genius essentially, and because he knows one day Kageyama was sure to surpass him, but it was just a matter of when. It was a struggle, but it was a matter of when he was going to surpass him, as opposed to if. And that became evident, especially when there was a flashback during the Obajosai arc. Oikawa almost hit Kageyama, where Iwa-chan had to stop him essentially and intervene and say, this is a kid, why do you have so much hostility towards this kid? Kageyama, leave, I need to talk to this friend of mine, right? So we saw all this progression, and the fight culminated with him against Obajosai, Karasuno versus Obajosai, setter versus setter. And it was a beautiful end, even though at that point we knew Oikawa was this big old monster and he deserved that title. He was frightful. The match versus Obajosai, especially the last one, it was amazing. And the last set where it was almost gone, then Oikawa did the whole maneuver that he went outside the court. He saved the ball and gave it to Iwa-chan, and Iwa-chan did his own finish. And inevitably, the freak duo Kageyama and Hinata, they won that match. Then you see this sad, heartbreaking moment where Oikawa essentially knows this was his last tournament as a high schooler. He is looking up at Kageyama, which to me just showed, it was just a reflection of what the situation was, because he's always looked down on Kageyama. Even though he knew one day he was going to surpass him, that was to me the moment where he surpassed him. Even though at that point, yeah, you can make the argument that he didn't surpass him at that point, but he was on the path and he was almost there, or at the very least he was there. And to me, the moment where he truly surpassed Oikawa in that regard was when they went to nationals, because Oikawa has never been to nationals. He has always faced the wall that was Ushijima, he was always lost. But Kageyama had his teammates, had himself also, and they beat Oikawa. They beat Ushijima, and they went all the way to national. And in Nationals, that's where he met the true monster that is Miya Atsumu. This is the perfect time to take a pause. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You can comment later. You can share after the video, but like, subscribe, enjoy. In many regards, Miya Atsumu was a setter that formed him apart from Oikawa, because he went there as a quote-unquote goody two-shoes, and he came out knowing he needed to change something if he wanted to complete at the highest levels. And he came back and he had the arrogance back, and a lot of his teammates were not happy with this development, and he blew his fuse against Asahi, and there was friction in the team until Hinata essentially smoothed it over, and he served as a translator, like this is what Kageyama is essentially feeling. And the results of his training showed itself in the Inarazaki match. The Inarazaki match was nothing short of beautiful in my eyes, because it was kind of a reflection of, even though you have talent, you might not want to do what specifically you're talented for. Like with the Miya twins, one of them, they are both equally talented in my eyes. But the Miya Osamu did not want to go into volleyball long term. And from here on out, there's nothing but spoilers. Manga spoilers. I'm gonna go ahead and skip all the way to the time skip. Kageyama now is a starter for the Adlers. He is regarded as the best setter in the country. And we see his match against the Black Jackals, and where Hinata came back for his match, and we saw the kind of plays he was making. Hinata and Kageyama specifically, he was a monster. Now he is respected and he has the renown. Everybody's looking at him like big Kageyama. Like he is out here. He's putting plays that nobody was thinking about. And I love that. His setting, his serves were ridiculous. But all that to show that he has now established himself as a regular, and now he's a starter for the country as well as also for his team. But there was a hint of jokes and jealousy where Hinata came back. Hinata spoke Portuguese. Now Kageyama is like, how many languages does this guy speak? I want to learn some more also. I like that. Like, it was a small scene that Furudate put, but I loved that scene. So, which it was a short time skip again before the Olympics. Kageyama has gone to Rome. In Rome, it seems like he learned how to speak Italian, which it was a nice touch. And you see Koro interviewing him, and his friends were like, yo, in Italian, he was speaking to them. He was like, don't worry, I'll be back in a bit. Love that. But anyway, yeah, it's been the Kageyama video. I just wanted to talk about Kageyama, especially after doing the read-through. Can't wait for the movie. Hopefully they don't rush it, because to me, the time skip could be a movie on its own, but I thought it would have at least a season or even two for the match against Hoshiyumi as well as the match against Nekoma. But beggars cannot be choosers. I would take two movies. Can't wait to see them. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Thumbs up.